Hey, it's Alex from BoardGameco, and if this giant little thing on the side of the box isn't yet a clue, this is an unboxing video. I'd tell you I don't really know what's in the box, but that would be a lie, thanks to the way CMON likes to label their giant boxes. I mean, these are expensive boxes to have labeled sitting on your porch. Fortunately, I have never been the victim of a porch pirate to the best of my knowledge, and so I guess CMON gets a pass from that. Okay, let's see how we can take this out with the minimum amount of noise. Now, if you're not used to one of my unboxing videos, let's just throw all this off to the side. If you're not used to my unboxing videos, they are less about the game and more just an opportunity to talk to you guys. I definitely will talk about the game a bit. I will ramble, I will go on. Marble dice. I like these dice, I'm telling you. I'll stand up soon and show you, but I debated strongly getting the marble dice, but I like these. I mean, this is a game all about the dice rolling. I want the cool dice in it. Let's get everything onto the table while I continue to talk about everything, about the channel, about Project Elite, about CMON games, maybe, I don't really know. I talked enough about CMON games in my video with all the CMON games and ranking that, so you guys might be sick of my, I guess, not passion, but my love of CMON. I do like them, don't get me wrong. I don't like everything they put out, but they tend, whoops, drop. They tend to have the most exciting, sorry about this, they tend to have the most exciting Kickstarter campaigns. As someone who looks at things from the value proposition, I very much appreciate all the companies out there. I appreciate, let's take Orange Nebula, that's a great example, just because I was talking yesterday about Vindication, when I'm recording this, the video just went live, but in my Kickstarter look back, I was talking about Vindication and how much I enjoy Vindication. 1 second while I shove that off to the side. And I like Vindication. I love it. Great game. Thoroughly enjoy it. But in terms of judging the Kickstarters that give you tons and tons of stuff for your pledge, CMON takes the cake. Not the best company in the many other aspects, not the best company in communication, not the best company in terms of a lot of, not shady, but they like to focus on their upsells. You know, let's start with the core box here. They definitely like to focus on their upsells. There's no question about it. They're big fans of trying to, you know, snake you in with every form of marketing tactic, from FOMO to paywalls to, you know, not being as transparent as they should be. They are very into that stuff, sadly. I don't like it, but I put up with it because, as I said before, I'm looking at the full package, and everything in life is a trade-off. Everything is. You know, you walk into one store, you walk into, I don't know, Giant Eagle. You walk into Giant Eagle, you get higher prices, but better service, better atmosphere. You walk into Mark's, and everything's pretty darn cheap, but the atmosphere sucks. Pick whatever store you have in your town, there's always different price points, there's always different trade-offs. It's very rare you get the perfect breed. What I think is most frustrating about CMON, let's see how long this rulebook is. This rulebook, lots of examples, typical CMON length, coming in at 25 pages, 25, plus whatever, about 20 pages of content by the time all said and done, which is not bad. I mean, I know how to play the game. But when you talk about, what's annoying about CMON is not their communication issues so much, but rather, I think they could be the perfect blend. I think that if they just tried being a little bit different in some of the ways they do things, they could end up being that perfect Kickstarter company that not only gives you the service you want, the value you want, the customer service, the updates, the transparency. I think they could do all that stuff. I don't have a problem with their paywall things at all. Meaning when they put promos behind, you know, comics or video games, whatever it is, I don't have a problem with that at all because, again, I just look at whether it's worth it or not, and I understand cross-selling. I think other aspects they could or should improve upon, but that one doesn't bother me in the slightest. This is nicely stuck in here. But that aside, they really do have the opportunity to be a better company if they improved upon some of these things that are just, I don't know, I want to say easy. I don't know why they struggle so hard with the communication. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about. But I guess the overall takeaway of this little miniature ramble is I like CMON. I like them a lot. But I think they could be better with just a little bit more effort. Okay, so we start getting miniatures here. Obviously, the camera over here is not great. I'll have to stand up and constantly show you them. Probably should have thought about this before I went with this view. Every time I do a unboxing, it's a different view. Will it focus properly? It will not focus properly. I have to like put a backdrop behind it. You see, I went for more of a conversational view this time where you can actually see me going through the unboxing. But like I said about CMON, everything in life has a trade-off. I can either go with a view that shows you the miniatures, a view that shows me, or a view that shows you both, but I have to go through significantly more editing to get you that final product. Or something I really want to do, and I will be doing at some point to be clear, is overhead camera setup so I can just transfer back and forth between two different camera angles as I go through these unboxings, which I guess leads us into our next topic. Let's talk about Patreon. Okay, Patreon is something that I started a Patreon 2 days ago. I haven't really promoted it yet. I think the first link I put up was in yesterday's video. Let's look at this. Okay, so here, brother, let's show you the difference in the dice here. I'm gonna give me 1 second to show you these dice. So I got marbled and regular dice, which first of all means more dice in general, but I don't know how well you can see. That's a marble die and a regular die side by side, and I drastically prefer the marble one. I would say it's even more evident if I go to the other dice, which are even prettier. But yeah, back to Patreon. So Patreon is something that I finally started. It's not something I originally planned on doing. When I first started this channel, I was very much into, the whole point of starting it initially was to promote BoardGameco, and then it just became more fun than it ever had a right to be. I really enjoy putting up these videos daily. I really enjoy talking to you guys, communicating with you guys, being part of a different aspect of the board game world that, despite being in board games for 6-7 years now, I've never been a part of. Here, let me show you these. Hopefully that is focusing enough to see. It's hard to get the focus right while I'm standing. So, I never really was part of the convention world, the publisher world, other gamers. I was into board games. I sold board games as part of that all stuff. But I never really joined the larger ecosystem just because I never really had enough of a reason to. And to be frank, I'm busy. I always have, I have a wife, I have 4 kids, I have BoardGameco, I have a day job. Yes, I have a day job too. And now I have YouTube. So I just have no time for other things. Although YouTube has been forcing myself to make time because it's fun. It's fun. It's a different ecosystem. I will say these runners are not nearly as bad as I thought they would. I'm telling you, this is going to be a terrible video. It's going to be me mostly just unboxing and talking to you guys. Here, let me save myself a whole lot of time and do this. That's probably not the best view you could get, but it's probably not the worst either. Those runners, I think the runners are much better than I thought they would be. In general, the gun guys, well, this one's clearly bent over, but honestly it kind of works. I was never a huge fan of the aliens in this game when they came out with it. It was okay. Okay, so that's gonna be box number 1. I'm telling you, it's gotta be hard. I feel bad for you guys. It's gotta be hard to try to follow the conversation when I do an unboxing video while talking about the miniatures in the game, while showing you some here and there, and while constantly getting up and then jumping back and forth on topics. If you're still watching this video, kudos to you. I appreciate you being here. So, whoops, let's go to the next box. Maybe what I'll do, you know what I'll do? Here, I'm actually gonna leave this out. I'm gonna leave all this stuff out and I'll come back to a overview at the end where I go through different miniatures. I'll change the camera angle, I'll figure out what to do there, and I will do a more in-detailed review of, not review, but content of the game. So let's put all this stuff away. I'm not going to focus too much on the tiles. I will just go through the various unboxes and I box them, and at the end, so stick around to the end. If you made it this far, stick around to the end. There will be more stuff at the end of this video to look over. Let me just put these dice away. Okay, all good, great. Next, move this to over here. Let's just slowly find space for all this stuff. Ammo pack, what do we got here? We got ammo pack with, oh, something else in there. Good thing I did not throw that out. Okay, more ammo. This is boring to look at, so I'll put that back. But going back to Patreon, so YouTube, yeah, so I've really enjoyed this whole YouTube thing, as I've said time and time again. I believe I should probably thank you guys for hitting 6K subscribers. We're probably, right now we're at, 30 short of that number. By the time you're watching this video, we'll be at 6K, so now's a good time to say thank you. Thank you for being, again, I cannot say it enough. It has been intensely enjoyable to continuously do this content. Whoops, ouch. This is just the one rook extra. so we'll put that one back. But it has been intensely enjoyable doing this content. I have really enjoyed this YouTube journey. I am still enjoying it. It is addictive in a way that I never really, it's a whole aspect of the board game world that I never really participated in, and it's been fun. Which leads to why I started doing Patreon, because initially this was meant to be purely a referral source for BoardGameco, for BoardGameco.com, where we buy and sell used games, we, trade games, we just basically do a whole bunch of business stuff. And while, don't get me wrong, I definitely have gotten customers from that, to be frank, the amount of time I put into this channel, totally not paying off. Absolutely not. No harm, no guilt, nothing like that. If it's the right store for you to check out, then great. If it isn't, that is totally fine as well. Okay, let's save these guys off to the side. So absolutely no pressure, no guilt, none of that. It has to be a mutual fit. That being said, I want to continue doing more stuff with YouTube. I want to continue upping my game in various aspects. I want to have an overhead camera so I can jump back and forth. I want to pay for an editor's time on some of these videos because I don't have the time to edit things, nor the desire. Unlike doing videos, which I don't have time for, but I like, editing I don't have time for and I don't like. So it's a whole different conversation of what I'm willing to do, what my preference is to do things. And I'd like to pay an editor to do stuff to improve the quality of content. I'd like to go to convention once the convention world opens up. I'd love to go to conventions, both to network, to socialize, to meet you guys, to play games with you guys, to do other things. There's more and more I would love to do in this world that takes time and money and equipment. I mean, equipment, just equipment alone. Buying equipment for this channel, buying new video cameras. I mean, right now I'm filming this on my phone. I've been filming these videos on my phone for a long time, which is great, but not great at the same time. I'd like better quality mics, which I just bought another $150 mic yesterday too, and that's still low end, by the way. But I slowly been upping, like my first few videos with a $20 mic, then I went to a $60 mic, now I bought a $150 mic. I'm constantly trying to up the level of equipment that I bring to the table. The camera I want to film with is a $600 camera, and that's just one. I really need a rig of stuff to set up to be able to more fully, do these deep dives into this content. The lighting I have a lighting thing, which you've probably noticed in some videos, but sometimes it throws off the lighting. It's not a great, let's do the Death Maw Valley thing. The lighting is not the greatest in terms of, it's not the worst, don't get me wrong, not at all, but it's by far, you can get a lot better. I've never wanted to be, when I do things, I go all in. If I'm going to do YouTube, I don't want to be, no disrespect to anyone who does YouTube, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to be someone who just throws up some bad lighting, sits on a couch, and just produces mediocre content. I like doing things well or not at all, ideally. And while there's certainly gaps in what I can do, like again, let's compare Quackalope, for example, because I think they're the gold standard of video editing right now. But like the way they edit their videos is just, it's insane. Their production quality is off the charts. I'm not trying to compete in that sense. Not in the slightest. I mean, I'm not competitors at all. Just the opposite. I've been playing games with them, talking to them, really developing relationships with them. I really like those guys. They're great guys. But there are areas you can always improve upon, and there are areas you don't need to. So for example, while I may not be willing to edit videos to the extent I should, I then have to improve the way I communicate, the way I talk, the level of energy I bring to the table, the level of ums and ahs that I specifically avoid. If you're not going to be better in an area, you have to in some way make sure your content is worth watching. And that comes from both continuously just building up this practice, building up what I do, getting used to what I do, but it also comes with improving the equipment whenever I can. It can take hours to consistently edit each and every video. And again, I'm going to go through all these miniatures at the end, timestamps below in case you just want to see miniatures and skip this rambling. But I will consistently improve whatever aspects I can, and while I'm not interested in spending hours and hours editing each video, if I can buy a mic for a few $100s or buy some lighting for a few $100s that improves the quality of the content, then I will do so. Because I want the content to be as high quality as I can in a way that makes sense. Now, I've had a bunch of people say, hey, we love your daily videos, it's awesome, just make sure you don't burn out. And that's a huge factor. I don't plan on burning out. I will only do this as long as it continues to be fun. But a big part of it continuing to be fun means doing the videoing part, which I enjoy, doing the talking to you guys, the communication with you guys, which I enjoy, and doing everything I can to avoid editing, because I hate editing. It's tedious to me. It's not something I get any pleasure out of. I do it to the bare minimum to ensure the content is passable, not more than passable, better than passable, but I don't like editing. I really, it's not something I want to get into. And like I said, if any editing that is done to a larger extent on this channel will be paid, not myself. It'll be someone else that I pay to do it and figure out a way to do that in a way that makes sense, because I have to figure out scheduling and all that stuff, but whatever. Which brings us all back to Patreon. The reason I'm starting a Patreon is because I like being in this space. I like being in the board game world, and I want to justify being in this YouTube space as long as possible, as much as possible, to the largest degree I can. And that means multiple things. It means, ooh, these rooks are pretty fun, by the way. I'll save this, again, I'll save this for the end, but the rooks look cool. But it means a few things. It means, let's save this, put this over here. It means paying for the equipment so that, I mean, like, ads are great. Anyone who's watching the ads or whatever, great, I appreciate it. You know, feel free to turn on whatever form of other things you need to not see ads if it's a pain. But the ads definitely contribute. But at the end of the day, to justify the time that I'm putting into this, between the ads and the revenue I'm getting from customers going to BoardGameco.com, it's not, I need something more to justify what I want to continuously do. Not just from a stance of equipment, but also from a stance of time. At the end of the day, as much fun as this is, it has to make sense to do it on a long-term scale. Like I said, I have a job, I have BoardGameco, I have a wife, I have 4 kids, and now I have YouTube. And plus I have gaming. Gaming's a big part as well. And I don't want to sacrifice any of those things. None of those things are things that I want to be pushed off to the side. Well, that's complicated, but definitely not board games, wife, and kids. Those are important to me. I don't want them pushed off to the side. I don't want my YouTube time to come from my personal life or my enjoyment. It has to come from work time, to be frank, which means it has to make sense to come from work time. If I'm not putting time into developing my day job, if I'm not putting time into developing and improving BoardGameco, then the time has to make sense to continuously spend on YouTube. If I'm going to go to a convention, the time, the cost of the convention, everything about it has to make sense to do. And make no mistake, I don't expect handouts in the slightest. I'm not a huge Patreon backer myself. There's only a few channels that I actually back in terms of Patreon. I like a lot of content, but I was never someone to heavily back. I guess I would say the way I put it is, in terms of general life, whenever I've backed any form of free options, I've done it. I still do it, but it's on a very limited scale. It's not a huge thing that I do. I find the people who I really like, the people I really enjoy, the people who, if they stopped doing what they were doing, I would be very sad. And those are the people who I support, which is a small subset. I mean, there's a lot of people doing good stuff. You have to be above and beyond to be that level. So in no way should my Patreon be taken as a, you know, you have to back this. Not in the slightest. Whoops. I think I just dinged something with my knife. You gotta be careful with this stuff. It is purely for those who are able, willing, and happy to do so. There are rewards, and I'll cover that. I'm going to do a Patreon video at some point. There certainly are rewards. Make no mistake about that. And I tried to be creative with the rewards. I tried to give some, in addition to discounts at BoardGameco.com, I tried to be creative with something I call Kickstarter insurance. Okay, sounds interesting, right? I'm not going to talk about it more here. You'll have to go to Patreon to see it. What is in this? This is the Invader crossover. Oh yeah, I hate crossover packs. I don't know why I bought this. I find that crossover packs, I like the idea, but I never actually go through the trouble of getting stuff. Plus, have I locked myself into keeping Invader when I'm on the fence about it? I don't really know. But anyways, back to Patreon, because we've been talking about that. It is definitely something that I hope takes off. It's something I hope enables me to pay more bills. We got one more box, and we're going to go to the miniature overview. This is the Terran box, which means all the Kickstarter extras. So it's definitely something that I hope works out. Make no mistake, I want to justify being in this space as much as possible, as long as possible, to a larger degree, better content. I want to start doing podcasts as well. This is so much to talk about, and it's so much fun. I mean, the idea of just spending my day talking about board games, the idea of spending my day arguing about the pros and cons of whatever board game drama. I mean, I don't know if you're a big YouTuber, but like watching YouTube drama to me is so uninteresting. You have these channels that will talk about whatever current fight between makeup people is going on, whatever it is. It's all drama and it's all uninteresting to me. But board game drama is so much more interesting because it's something I care about. Whether I agree, disagree, like it, not like it, there's so many opinions to be had. Whether it's something about, you know, scalping, when I talked about scalping, which I updated my opinion on, by the way, and I'll talk about that when I do an unboxing of Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion eventually. But whether it's that, whether it's, you know, politics in the board game world, should we or shouldn't we? Should we be attacking customers for attacking companies for not making statements about Black Lives Matter? Should we? Should we not? It's a conversation I want to have because I care about board games. I care about the world that we are both in, that you and I are in together. I care about limiting that conversation to board games while also ensuring that I can do good. I mean, there are many, like, on the one hand, I only, whatever, well, let's not get into it too much right here, but the point is I care. I care about the conversation. I want to have that conversation. I want to talk about ways to improve my life in gaming, your life in gaming, everyone's life in gaming. I want to have a conversation and change minds, both mine and yours. I want to talk about the newest board game. I want to be involved in playtesting more Kickstarters and not just talking about the value aspect. There are so many different things. This guy's pretty cool, by the way. There are so many different things in this space that I want to continuously talk about, to continuously enjoy. And I just need to justify that time, is what it comes down to. So again, no pressure whatsoever. The way this channel has gone has far exceeded my wildest dreams. Absolutely. If it never went further, it has already been more than I ever hoped it could be. And with that, let's kind of temporarily pause talking about Patreon and talk about these miniatures. I'm gonna pause this and change the camera angle, and we'll be right back. Alright, so hopefully the audio quality isn't too much of a shift right now, because the nature of changing the camera angle means I'm also changing the direction of the mic, which means mid-video for you, you suddenly experience the pivot in the audio quality. So let's go through the miniatures now. Let's go through the actual, again, timestamps will be below for those of you who just want to see this, but this is the brood mama with its little miniature brood babies. I mean, let's put it on the table. You can see it over there decently. That is going to be something fun to see on the table attacking your little base. If you haven't played Project Elite is a very fun game. I've only played it a few times, and then I, backed the CMON Kickstarter because I liked the game, and I just got rid of the old one right away because I have a hard time sometimes playing older games when the new one can be, better, different, or whatnot. Look at this. That's, again, I've talked about this in the past. I love CMON. Their miniature sculpts are not second to none, but pretty darn close to second to none, especially when you compare it to other companies that have okay stuff, but not amazing. I'm not going to go through every single miniature here. Let's go through some of this is one of the alt sculpt runners from the Terran box. We have the alt sculpt shooters, which I wish were the dominant sculpt shooter, because I think they're much better than the main sculpt. And we have what is this guy? Okay, oh, look at that guy. Look at that. He's gonna eat you up. He's definitely not a fun little, bugger. And we have just a ton of just very fun. I'm not gonna go through every single miniature, obviously that would be overkill, but I definitely will try to go through a bunch, especially the cooler monsters and some of the heroes maybe. I mean, this guy, I like this guy. He's got a nice little Gorgonish thing going on. Gorgomination, I'm saying that wrong. Gorgomination, I think. Basically, Gorgon from Stranger Things was a Gorgomination. I can't say this. Gorgomination, abomination, Gorgon. I don't know. But the Gorgon was basically an abomination in Zombicide with a name that I clearly can't remember exactly how to say it or pronounce it. Ooh, I like the arms in this person. Look at the multiple arms. I don't know who she is or why she has multiple arms, but I'm happy she's on my team. Are those robot arms? They look like they're coming from her backpack. She looks like a human. So I'm guessing she's a human with robot arms. Let's go through that. Let's go through the Rook Pack. The Rook Pack's pretty cool. Oh, here are some towers, Let's go through the tower. This is a tower that your guys can stand on during the game in terms of some form of ability to stand on it and shoot people. And look at that. I just broke one right near. You see, this is the problem with doing these videos. Try not to break them. It will glue right back, though. Right there. You see, it just needs to be glued right in. It's all good. Okay. Let's take a look at these rooks. The rooks look fun. Okay, so we have the rooks over here, and let's go through them. I'll pull one out so you can see it more. Okay, that looks pretty cool. I'm pretty cool with these rooks. They seem pretty impressive. I like the styling of them. from there, after we're done with the Rook pack, let's go ahead and push this off to the side. I'll have to clean all this up later, but let's look at the Deathmaw. Deathmaw Valley was certainly a fun one. Let's put this bad boy together, and I'm wondering where the extra Deathmaw parts are. I probably missed a box over here. Oh, I have a bunch of... No, I don't know. I don't know where the extra Deathmaw parts are, but let's see how well this clips in and out, because if it breaks on camera, you'll already know, or have a better idea. Okay, so I don't know how much it's supposed to push in. There we go. So it clips in. We'll see how easily it clips out. Okay, I'm a little worried. It's just tense enough that I'm a little worried you're gonna snap these at some point. I assume CMON tested that, but you definitely want to be gripping it from the middle and don't be pushing on those legs as you do this. This is making me a little tense, honestly. This is something I'm not... I assume it'll become easier the more you do it, meaning in general parts like this tend to wear as you do them, so that will hopefully work out well. Oh boy, look at that. That is definitely not fun. Come on, I'm gonna have to talk to you. You got one of my bits. There we go. Okay, one of these bits came a little damaged. I'm gonna bend it a bit. I'll regret that later. I'll message CMON. They'll send me a replacement part. We'll see, maybe. Okay, let's get this guy in. I'm really worried about snapping this, guys. This better get easier as time goes on. Arrgh. Okay. Uh-oh. This hurts. This really hurts. Okay, I'm sure this is not the most entertaining thing you've seen all day, but there we go. Okay, so here's your Deathmaw moving around the board. It mostly works except for that one faulty bit I got. And let's try to unsnap them and see how easy they unsnap. They unsnap a bit easier. I'm a little worried about this one because this is the one that's bent. Come on, expect a customer service email about this bit over here that is bent at a bad angle. Came that way. You saw an unboxing on camera, so I have video proof. Okay, and taking this apart, geez, this is really something I'm very worried about. Okay, I'm gonna do this not on camera. So, I mean, you can't see it well, but that joint is actually looking a little stressed right now. I'm very worried about the long-term practicality of these bits. Okay, yeah, that joint, you may not be able to see it, but you see that whitening? That is a stressed joint compared to the non-whitening over here. Yeah, I've already stressed this joint. I hope it works out. Let's dump it there for right now. I'll deal with it later. Ow, my hands. You can see my hands, by the way. Those little divots over there, those are my divots from trying to put those in and out. So, mixed news on that one. Super cool, don't get me wrong, but certainly a mixed bag in terms of whether it's fun or not. So let's go through these miniatures that I kind of passed over. Oh, there's also things like these cannons over here. You know, good, overall good. No problems there. Nothing amazing, nothing problematic. A little harpoon. Cool harpoon. All good. And then from there we have... So let's look at some of these. Which ones did I look at already? I like her. She looks fun. Overall good quality, good sculpt, good mold lines. I mean, you can see some mold lines if you look, but nothing obvious and in your face. I like this guy too. He looks nice and wise while being an alien dude. So alien dudes are always tight, you know. If you ever watch Pitch Meeting, that guy's hilarious. Pitch Meeting's always, everything's tight in Pitch Meeting. Oh, here are the extra bit for the Deathmaw. That's an extra custom tail for the Deathmaw. A nice little, this is from, what's it called? What's that? Starship Troopers. This is the Starship Troopers stretch goal. Fun guy. Do we have any? We have a sniper over here. Again, overall great sculpts. I mean, pretty happy with the sculpts. But then again, it's CMON. This is, I guess expect is probably it sounds entitled, but I expect good sculpts from CMON. The question is always whether the sculpts are good, but rather is the game good. So over here for this guy, we have this little creature who's like buzzing along. I mean, it's gonna take up a nice spot on the board. Some more miniatures. I'm telling you, I'm really looking forward to playing this game. I hope to get to the table as soon as possible. I'm gonna have to put up all this expansion stuff off to the side because, I mean, as much fun as it is, it does make the game harder to get to the table when you have this much stuff. You have to start slow. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. This is the optional buy character pack, which I always hate getting because they're overpriced, but I mean, when I like a game, this stuff really can add. Here's Captain Planet. This guy, I mean, he's clearly the guy from Watchmen. I just don't know Watchmen very well, so I don't really know. that's it. I'm not going to overly go into tiles. Maybe my own bias, maybe just running out of time here. It's a long video already, but my own bias of not particularly loving tiles. No problem, nothing against them. I don't remember if I did this box. Let's do one more box quickly, because it has this guy who I like. He looks like he'd be fun to take down. He'd feel pretty powerful when you take him down. They have this whip person over here. Another one of those, not called abominations, they're called something or other. And then these flying guys, which are a new type of creature to deal with, which I am looking forward to. Well, I like new stuff. I'm generally a big fan of new stuff. So that's it. That's my CMON unboxing, plus a lot of rambling about stuff, mostly Patreon. That wasn't intended, sorry with that. I have my own Patreon video coming out, which I will be talking about that stuff more in detail, with more of a focus. The way I like to do these unboxings in general is just come into totally unprepared, have a little bit more of a raw conversation, just talk about whatever crosses my mind and hope it's not so bad I actually have to make an edit, because that would not be fun. I don't like editing videos. But anyways, I am Alex from BoardGameco. I hope you enjoyed. I hope if you didn't like the rambling part, I hope you use the timestamps below to skip directly to the miniatures. That's usually why I look at unboxings, just for the miniatures. I mean, I don't really care that much about tiles as much. You can see the artwork of a tile online easily enough. It's miniatures that get more of a highlight in a video. But again, all that aside, this has been fun. I'm Alex from BoardGameco. You can subscribe down below, comment, share, all that stuff, and of course there'll be a link to my Patreon, but again, no pressure whatsoever. I'll drop the link in. I will mention it every few videos here and there. I want to strike a balance between growing a community, just growing the channel, growing your engagement and all that, and of course making sure that I am giving myself the opportunity to pay for anything from equipment to my time to conventions to all that stuff. But I don't want to spam people. I mean, again, keep in mind, I have a board game store, BoardGameco.com. Half the people on this channel don't even realize it until once in a while they're watching a video, they're like, wait, you have a store? I try not to advertise very heavily. I want this to be more of a conversation. I want this to be more about you and I just engaging together in the conversation about board games. And advertising is an important part of that to an extent, but I'd rather it be as minimal as possible, as not in your way as possible. I mean, whenever there have been mid-rolls in videos that are, more than 1 or 2 mid-rolls in a video, or more than one every 10 minutes, that's usually a mistake, and I try to edit it after the fact. I'm not trying to spam people in the slightest. I'd rather you want to be here than you not want to be here, and I drive you away. As usual, I'm Alex. Subscribe down below, comment, engage, and until next time, I will see you.